Good morning. It's Thursday, October 23rd, 2014. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 80. My name is Chris, and this is the last one of this week before I get on a jet plane and fly to Ohio, so I'm pretty excited. However, I'm going to be honest with you. Real talk, audience. There was a lot to pick from in the news headlines today. A lot of things going on with the iPad reviews, all kinds of stuff with Twitter. But none of it really felt like it was worth discussing today. So it's going to be potentially a shorter show because I wanted to just kind of discuss things that I felt were of, I don't know, maybe some long-term importance. I don't know. It's a weird bar that I have for the show. So today's episode, as we coast into my trip to Ohio, may be a shorter one. So just take this and put it on repeat a few times. And now, of course, every time I say that, I condemn us to a long show. And to help me accomplish that, to help contradict everything I just said, I've established an excellent Mumble panel. Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Whoa.
We can't make it the greatest show in the world, so this is just a tribute.
Right. So, you know what we're going to start with today? This is kind of an interesting move by Google. They've announced Inbox, and just in good old traditional Google style, it's invite only right now. So if you're not one of the cool kids, sorry, but the new app from the Gmail team, they don't want you to call it email because it's Inbox, and they say it's by Gmail. It's being released as invite only for now. It only works in Chrome, on Android phones and iPhones. It feels completely native on all of those, but it's not actually native. It's using the new Material design stuff that they announced semi-recently. The basic idea is that instead of giving you a list of your emails, it tries to intelligently give you more information so you don't have to open each of them, with Google Now-style info cards that appear right in line with your message list, including things like flight times, packages, tracking, things like that. You also bundle similar emails, so like if you have a whole bunch of updates, it'll bundle them all together, and you can throw them all away with one simple click.
Everything I hate about Gmail, but even worse. It's like more control surfaces for them to just completely parse everything that you have.
Well, okay. Now hear me out. I'm going to play devil's advocate. I don't know. Is anybody in here a Gmail like pro, like just rocks the Gmail interface? It's got the shortcuts down. You're using the different labels. Anybody want to stand up as the Gmail advocate? Otherwise, I'll take that role.
I used to be. Until they rolled out those friggin' tabs. I hate the tabs now.
I'm more of a native client person.
Okay.
I enjoy the tabs.
Okay. All right. I think they work pretty well, too. IO and a go-go. I don't even know how you're supposed to say that, but I agree with you. I think the tabs work pretty well. The primary and update stuff works well for me because I get a lot of emails. So I've also tried the priority inbox. That works semi-okay. So the thing is this is going to rely on any of those things. If any of those things work well for you right now, that's going to be some of the fundamental technology behind this system that's driving this. So if that system hasn't worked well, if it hasn't worked well for you, then this probably, might be something you're not all that interested in. But this seems to be eventually designed to be a total replacement for Gmail. They're designing it sort of in parallel with Gmail. And I could see it at Google. If you haven't had a chance to look at this, I'm showing some screenshots right now. And by the way, here's an example of an email when you get something from Amazon. And it's showing you the device there that you got, a little card, right? Very Google. They're essentially integrating Google Now into email. And this is great for Google. This is great for Google because now they get an idea of everything that, you've bought and shipped. So you don't even have to buy it through them. They still get to learn about what you buy.
Well, it's actually like the coolest thing about this that I can think of is the way it would apply to Glass. Why isn't Because that's the entire interface for Google Glass, and I just got an email from them a couple days ago. Like I didn't read it yet, but man, I was so disappointed that they abandoned Google Glass. It totally uses the card interface, and that is like the only way that you structure everything that you do in Glass.
Right, yeah. That's kind of where the card interface really, they kind of, I think, started conceptualizing the card interface was there for Google Glass. And this little extracting bits of information is pretty helpful. I'm still on the fence about Google Now. Lionhead, you're not in the U.S. Are things like Google Now and stuff like that, are those fully available to folks outside the U.S.?
I don't know because I honestly don't use it and I have no need for it. I mean, it doesn't add more to my life
for
using that.
I wonder, I'm kind of starting to feel that way, and I'm trying to figure out if it's what it...
it's just an intermediary between them rolling out really demi-artificial intelligence, pseudo personal assistant heuristics in terms of your actual stuff, blah. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're probably using some pretty sophisticated intelligence to do the sorting.
It's not that sophisticated, man.
Okay.
Figuring out that's one of the reasons why I hate the tabs actually. Since they rolled that out, because I get a lot of email from PR people, and I pitch stories to papers and stuff, and I don't know these people. Google has never been able to figure out who is friggin' spam and who is not. Like, it moves like conversations now between those tabs. It's just horrific. But anyway.
I find that to be hit and miss. I'm kind of with Lionhead in a sense. I find more and more I just need simple filtering. I don't really need something that sort of abstracts away email. That actually feels like it's potentially a bad thing. I want to play a little bit of the Google video, though, just so that, because since some people that are watching may not have a sense of the product yet, it's been online, but I think maybe not everyone's had a chance to see all of it. I'll play a little bit of the video from Google about it.
To everyone. Subject, an email about email. We love email, but too much of anything can be overwhelming. And it seems like everything these days, every impulse buy, every trip, and pretty much every person you talk to makes more email. So we built Inbox, an inbox that works for you. Inbox lets you add your own reminders to help you get things done. It bundles similar messages together and highlights the important stuff. Inbox is a way to get back to what matters. Come try it with us. Your friends at Gmail.
Yeah!
Our friends at Gmail, guys.
Yeah, your new
And not our
overlord.
creepy benevolent overlords.
I didn't know I had friends. I'm really glad I had friends at Gmail. So there you go.
Are you sleeping?
I'll have a link to that video in the show notes too if you want to watch it. I think this is designed to eventually replace email, and it's designed to make it a little easier, I think, too.
How many times has Gmail, for anyone who's listening, collapsed a thread that you're very active in terms of like working on, and you need to see like the last 3 messages? Yeah, that's how good the heuristics are. Yeah, they're not that great.
Right.
I
agree.
don't really need that low. I'm not that comfortable with an even more involved personal assistant aspect.
Well, we'll see.
Get my normal stuff.
And I would say if anyone out there is an advocate for the system or has had a chance to play with it, because that's the other thing is maybe, it's one of these things you could play with and it might blow your mind. You never know. I mean, if anyone out there actually has the technology, the resources, the compute behind it, and the engineers, it's Google. So if anyone could actually make this work, with all of the information they have on us, all of the signals we send, if anybody in the entire world can make it happen, it would be Google. So if anybody out there has a chance to try Inbox and has kicked the tires, let me know. Unfortunately, it's not currently available, I believe, to apps users or most apps users, and that's where I get the most email myself. So that's actually where this would be the most beneficial. My personal inbox is a mess just because I've had it for so long, but it's manageable with existing Gmail tools. My professional inboxes are in a constant state of bankruptcy. They're just a catastrophe. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I'm always an email debt. I'm never ever ever caught up on email.
Yeah,
and like I'll out of maybe 50 emails, maybe 2 of them are ones I really need, like really, really bad. And then 20 of them are ones I should respond to. And then, the rest are maybe ones I just need to read. And if there was a system that could expose and extract that to me, that would be amazing. And it would almost be worth all of the tracking and all of the signals and it would almost be worth all of that if it actually worked. So I'm hopeful. But Rotten Corpse, I'll let you have the last word. Oh, and then Tech Dev. Go ahead, Rotten.
I was just going to say that, to be fair, you should also think about Google's creation of Gmail in the first place when everybody was wanting to get invites and stuff because they fixed a lot of problems with email and it's just in general. So maybe they could fix this issue too.
Yeah. Well, and they can only one thing that Google has always been very good at is rolling things out very slowly and using the iterative processes, over time, over long periods of time to really.
They kind of kicked off the whole invite system in a big way. They made it go big. All right, Tech Dev, you'll get the final word on this topic before we move to our next story.
I don't really see the huge problem with using this as a common user. I mean, for those that are worried about privacy, don't use Google if you can't. But this app in itself, I've been using it for like 3 days now, and I am horrible at keeping my inbox clean. But this actually kind of helps just a little bit.
It's good?
I wouldn't say it's great, but if you tinker with it a bit and play with it for a while, it can get the job that you want it to do done.
How good is the... Have you got a chance to play with the web UI?
I haven't played with the web UI.
So you're using it mostly
Android.
on Android. And how's that UI and interaction and app and all of that?
You definitely want a bigger screen UI-wise.
Really?
Functionality. Yeah.
Okay.
On smaller screens, I tend to notice that it just kind of gets bunched up, and then you can't see a whole lot. But,
really?
Yeah, it's not friendly to small screens.
How does the reminder functionality work? Like if you tag an email and say, okay, I'll deal with this later, does it use like Android notifications, or do you have to go back into the app? How does that work?
It runs through Google Now. It's just a back end for putting up Google Now.
Right.
Yeah, basically the same way like Glass.
So they're, oh my gosh, see that? Boy, isn't that amazing how they're tying all of that together like that?
Yeah, it's insidious. I love it. Yeah.
And I wonder if this will eventually lead to the death of Gmail IMAP support once they roll this out as the main Gmail interface that everybody has.
That's a good point. Well, yeah, and then our freedom.
I hope not. I'm really good at keeping my inbox very clean, so I hope they don't do that.
Yeah.
If you want freedom, you're not using Gmail, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tech Dev, will you report back to us next week on how it's going for you? And let us know if you get a chance. Stop by and give us the inbox update, because you might be our inbox correspondent now.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Thank you, sir.
Although on the IMAP thing, I really don't think that they would pull the IMAP. That would cut support for so many users.
I agree. I agree.
Do that. No,
Well, I don't know, man, because see, they recently released a Gmail API that is to supersede the IMAP functionality that they want apps to use instead of using IMAP. We'll just see. We'll just see.
They did destroy Google Reader.
I mean, like, but no, this is like so much bigger than Google Reader here. I mean, like, that would be like, okay, yeah, no way to, like, so
no,
many
you guys,
services across
Crazy
the board.
Chris is wrong, I'm sure. We'll just let time decide.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, all right. We got to go to our next story. So Apple Pay glitches have cropped up. What so far has seemed to have been a pretty damn smooth roll-up for a major system like this has had a few glitches for early adopters. Now, nothing major, but the problem seems to affect Bank of America customers. This is according to a report that originally ran on Bloomberg. The report claims that around 1,000 Bank of America debit transactions on Apple Pay were mistakenly duplicated. Some people were charged twice. Now, the funny thing is, the problem actually seems to be outside the Apple Pay system. The problem was blamed on a processing error that occurred between the bank and at least one payment network. So one of the payment network partners of Bank of America had the transaction error. This is according to Bloomberg's inside source, who said that the glitch is fixed as of today.
Oh, yeah, so they roll back and they ran it again. Oh, great. Whatever.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your Apple Pay glitch story, everybody.
Saw that coming.
Yeah, actually, as far as glitches go, that one's not so bad. I'm still holding out. I think we're gonna hear about another one. I hate to be a skeptical Nancy, but I'm waiting for a big one, because man, that's gonna be a big story if there's something there. But we'll see.
Well, the thing is, anytime Bank of America is behind anything, I kind of see that.
I know. When I saw that the bank that they're having troubles with was Bank of America, I was like, oh, go figure. Go figure.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
It's the Libyans!
All right, so you guys, oh my gosh. So you guys know we've been trying to get to 400 by our flight tomorrow, and we're at 396 on the Patreon page for Tech Talk Today. Patreon.com/today. Last chance. If you're out there and you've been considering doing this and would like to bump us over to 400, that would be incredible. I got a couple of emails the last couple of days from some of you who've decided to go ahead and pull the trigger. It is so appreciated, and I hope some of the things that we have in store for you will sort of reaffirm why you did this. And right now I know I'm asking you to take a leap of faith, but we've got even more stuff in the works. And what we're trying to do is get to 400 by the next couple of days, well, tomorrow. But I don't know if we'll check it tomorrow. So if it didn't happen till like Saturday, we probably wouldn't know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying, but I'm not saying. You know what I'm saying. It's patreon.com/today. I don't know. Go to patreon.com/today and pledge any amount you can afford, and we appreciate it. This is a base level of funding, and it really accomplishes a few things that are super important to us. To start with, I use this money to sort of give me leverage in being picky on who is a sponsor on the Jupiter Broadcasting Network. This is insanely important because it allows me to make sure that I pick sponsors that respect our content, respect our audience, and our products that I personally actually use and like. Now, if you think about how limiting those parameters are, because I'm only one person. I can't use everything. I can't like everything. So to be that picky, the only way I can pull that off, so that way when I endorse a product as something I really like, is by using this funding as leverage, right? Because I have the leverage to say, no, thank you.
Gotta pay the bills somehow.
So that's why crowdsourcing is so important for a network like ours, and it's fundamentally where mainstream media goes wrong. And this is the long-term solution to what eventually becomes corruption in any institution that is solely dependent on sponsorships.
Totally. Keep it weird.
Patreon.com/today. So that's number one. Number two, it gives us some budget predictability. Because, a sponsor could walk is one thing. But number two is we want to be able to launch shows that aren't necessarily guaranteed moneymakers. We want to be able to launch a show that we know you just love, like The Faux Show. Is a show solely for our community. It is a social experience for our community. There is no sponsor in The Faux Show. We would love one, but there is not one. But because we have funding other alternative sources, we're not dependent on only that model. We can branch out. This show is brought to you because of your contributions over at patreon.com/today. So it gives us the affordability to do a little extra things that aren't just quote unquote money makers, right? But the last thing I want to mention today is it lets us go out of our way to sort of preemptively invest in a project. So we can afford to have somebody fly in that we want to meet with, and we can go out and hire a designer to create art for a show that we're working on, all before the show ever has a chance of ever making money, ever. Because often a show will run for a very long time before it is profitable because of the types of shows we do, and that's our model, and we're okay with that because of your support over at patreon.com/today. It's how new media can do something that is fundamentally unavailable to the established media industry. It really is a recipe that they just can't touch. And it's because of you. Patreon.com/today. 396. I'm very thankful. Thank you, everybody. We're almost to 400. Almost. It'd be awesome. Okay, so let's move on to Google's great news about the Chromebook. Holy cow! Chromebooks are rocking super hard. Shipments are up by 67%, right there. Boom. So that's huge, according to ABI Research. And this is just in the most recent quarter that they were up by 67%. Now, they think this might even double year over year. So they think the trend is going to continue upward. Now, they always think these things, but
in perpetuity, of course.
Right, yes, right. It seems to be Acer is making out the best with lead over every other vendor, including Samsung, HP, and Dell. By ABI's count, that's the research industry, the top three leading vendors are Acer, Samsung, and HP. They get 74% of the Chromebook market during the first half of 2014, and they don't see that changing throughout the rest of 2014. They think it's also interesting that education is the primary driving force, but emerging markets, especially Asia-Pacific and Eastern Europe businesses, are purchasing 75% of the Chromebook sales. So if you bring together education and businesses in Asia, Pacific, and Eastern Europe, 75% of the Chromebook sales are going there. Google is also making an enterprise push for Chromebooks with its Chromebooks for Work initiative, and you can see why. A huge portion of Chromebooks are going to businesses.
Well, this is what happens when you can, leverage, we have an economy of scale that is unheard of in the civilized world, in the entire history of industry.
Right.
So, we can make a badass freaking product for almost nothing.
Yeah, you essentially have a ridiculously cheap notebook or netbook, and it's just dependent on connectivity. And not wholly dependent on connectivity, but quite dependent on connectivity. If you have the connectivity piece, then these are almost a no-brainer.
Well, if you install Ubuntu, I have no problem existing without. I love my Chromebook.
Sure, but I just think if today in the United States, if we were starting out building infrastructure, but connectivity was already a foregone conclusion. It was when you had a building, there was always connectivity. That's essentially how it is now. But if we
totally know what you're talking about.
Right, then of course you would just go with Chromebooks for the cost and all of that.
Yeah, have everything run on DigitalOcean. Yeah, let DigitalOcean do all your stuff.
Go ahead, Ron.
There's also another reason it might be popular outside of the U.S. is because there's there's competition in the U.S. from like Toshiba and Samsung and Asus and things like that are affordable and still good quality laptops. If you take the exact same models and look it up in Europe or the UK, they're ridiculously more expensive. Like one $250 laptop here is like 600 euros.
Oh, no way.
That's
yeah,
not good.
the Chromebooks are almost like maybe like 50 euros more or something. They're just a lot more reasonable.
Lionhead, you seem like probably a pretty big Chromebook user, right?
No, I
weird.
don't use Chromebook
Nice try.
at all.
Oh, that's
Nice pickup.
Swing and a miss.
Based on your strong support of Gmail, I assumed you must be plugged into the Google ecosystem. I have mixed feelings about Chromebooks. I don't understand why I like a tablet, but I don't like a Chromebook.
I don't understand why you don't love the Chromebook, and I've never understood that. And
Well, here's where I'm at with the Chromebook. My wife, I think, would benefit big time from a Chromebook, but the problem is she likes Kingsoft Office so much, and not only that, but she doesn't like to change her process, her workflow. So she's still on Linux Mint after more than a year, maybe year and a half, 2 years.
Well, if that works, that's great. Why that seems better.
it's not a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I find it ridiculous that I would prefer a tablet with a Bluetooth keyboard over a Chromebook. I don't know why that is.
You are insane. That's why.
I think it's because like the Chromebook is, maybe this is it. I'm not saying this is it, but I'm just putting this out there.
You just hate the lack of function keys, okay? It's fine.
Well, maybe. I think it's the Chromebook lives in the uncanny valley, where like it looks like a laptop, it smells like a laptop, but it doesn't quite quack like a laptop. It gets close, but it's more of like a tweet than a quack.
I can code on mine for like 12 straight friggin' hours at the bar. It is awesome. That's all I got to say.
All on battery?
Yeah, all on battery. I've had it for like 2 years, 700 or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's. If I was in one application the whole time. See, I think I'm too ADD.
No, well, the weird thing though, like one really great point, like when you guys did the whole Chromebook thing, was like, yeah, it's so easy to screw up because like they have these weird, stupid keys. It's like, why the hell can't you just make it normal? Like,
like there's no caps lock, which isn't a big deal, but it's weird, and there's
It is super irritating though.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up here with an email from Mark. He sent an email to today@jupiterbroadcasting.com, although it probably should have gone in the subreddit, but that's okay, Mark. I'll still read it here on the show. He says, PC World has begun a weekly column on Linux and other non-Windows OSs. And he links us to PCWorld.com, and he's with an introduction article, which I'll have a link to that in the show notes. Now, Eric, I think you were checking this out. Did you have a chance to read anything they've published yet?
Yeah, I took a look at it, and basically, it's just kind of a
general
I haven't
interest.
putting it into words. It's basically a column.
It's
put
a new
together
column.
just for anything but Windows.
Yeah, here's how they say it: World Beyond Windows, the new PC World column dedicated to Linux, Chrome OS, and anything but Windows.
Yeah, I was
exactly.
kind of disappointed in the same way.
And there's a few things in that are worthwhile, but it hasn't been like super amazing yet.
Okay. But
it's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Keep an eye on it, you say, huh? Okay, there you go. It's good to see PC World getting into it, at least, right?
Absolutely. It's been a while since they've done anything with this.
Does it make me a pessimist to think that they're eventually just going to fold into turning it into a Mac one?
Of course. That's already happened, but no, I'm kidding.
Huh. I don't know. Because, it seems like a lot of places now that are online publications all have to have their open source, quote-unquote, corner. Right,
yeah,
you've got ZDNet's got it, Datamation's got it, Network World's got it, PC World's got it. Who am I missing? Other people have got it now.
Ars Technica.
Yeah, Ars has had it for a long time.
Yeah, but that's old school.
Right. I mean, ours is. I almost feel like ours is actually like legit.
Yeah.
But these other ones, it feels
Before
like
it was cool.
Well, feels like these other ones have bolted it on. Like, I guess this this kit operating system's still scurrying around. Better
don't you dare play him.
Better do something with this punk because it doesn't seem to be going away. I guess. Hey, isn't that blogger guy that writes every few months? Isn't he available? Let's just hire him, and he can write us some stuff, and we'll put it in the corner. Nobody reads it anyways.
I recognize the off the journalist from another website for some reason.
Yeah, I do. I forget exactly, but yeah, he's written before online too, and
ours cares to the hipsters because they were doing it first.
Yeah, ours is the hipsters. So, anyways, you can find it over at PC World if you guys want to check it out.
Yeah, and also subscribe to Linux Voice. Like, it's been awesome.
Yeah, and
Linux Voice is doing awesome.
Yeah, and
I love them.
They had who did they have on their show recently? They had somebody interesting on their show recently, but I forgot who it was. So yeah, Linux Voice is another good one. I'm still a big fan of Linux Format too. I don't know how they're doing anymore because you can't really find them over here.
They've gone downhill.
Oh, okay.
Big time.
Yeah, okay.
That's sad.
Yeah, that's too bad. I used to love getting the magazine when I would actually have to go to a bookstore.
That's what I love about Linux Voice. I love this every month. It's like one of the highlights of my month. I get like the actual print.
An actual
copy.
magazine? I know.
Yeah, Linux. Oh, God, so good.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting out of that, though.
Well, yeah, a lot of people also don't know how to read anymore, so that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a reason why a lot of people are getting out of the print business. But anyways.
in the chat room, maybe JB needs Win Corner.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's crossed our mind. I don't know who would host it, but probably not me.
I think we should have Soundboard Richard Stallman host it.
with the release of Windows 10, the demand might be high.
Just replay that interview over and over again.
I don't know. I don't think you could call it the Windows Action Show anymore. It's a new Microsoft. You got to call it the Microsoft Action Show or the Azure Minute or Azure Today.
Awesome.
All right, guys, we're gonna get the F out of here. That'll wrap it up for the entire week of Tech Talk today. I am getting on a jet plane and heading to Ohio. Hope to see you there. If you're not going to be in Ohio, follow our coverage. We'll have updates in Linux Unplugged and Linux Action Show. And I'll be tweeting away at ChrisLAS on Twitter. You can follow the wife. She'll be tweeting as well at ANGRZ. I would actually expect her to tweet more because, I forget. And then, plus, I don't want the shame of having to pull out an iPhone. I think I'm going to bring the iPhone with me and not the Nexus 5. I've been debating this single decision more than any other thing about the entire trip, which phone to bring with me on the trip.
You're a madman.
But see,
aren't you aware that you're a host of Linux Action Show?
Services quicker.
See, the thing is I got Android L on the Nexus 5, and it's been pretty good. In fact, Android L is by far, and I mean a huge by far, the best version of Android ever. It's really good.
You still haven't charged yet. It's been 200 weeks
now. I've been having some issues where the cellular stack seems to be crashing.
Oh.
And I don't know it's happened until I look at my phone and realize that
it's been down.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so I don't think I want to bring it on a trip with me. So I think I'll be bringing. So so that's a long way of saying if I don't tweet a lot, it's because I've been shamed into not bringing the iPhone out at a Linux Fest, even though a lot of other people.
Noah.
Yeah, Noah. Exactly. All right, so we're going to wrap it up. We were talking about Inbox quite a bit today from Google, which reminded me of something that I've always appreciated a lot from Google, is they've had some great April Fools over the years. So I want to wrap up with an old April Fool's prank about making Gmail better than ever, brand new and amazing. And they nail all of the buzz terms. This is such a great April Fool's video. So we'll wrap it up with this. We'll be back here not on Monday, because I'll be just getting back from Ohio, but on Tuesday for a brand new edition of Tech Talk. Join me, won't you? 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, jblive.tv, jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar to get that in your time zone, and have a great weekend.
Gmail Blue was part of the initial conception for Gmail when it was launched. At the time, the technology was simply not there.
The culture of Google really is to incorporate moonshot thinking to every project.
It's taken us 6 years to develop the technology to achieve Gmail Blue.
Our major challenge was, how do we make this intimate, intuitive, realistic, and organic?
In trying to bring email into the 21st century, we are faced with a challenge. How do we completely redesign and recreate something while keeping it exactly the same? The answer is Gmail Blue.
You click on Compose, the button Compose, blue. The word Compose itself, blue.
Boldface is blue, underline is blue. Italics is blue as well.
You write in the body of the email, the font comes up blue. You don't have to make it blue, it is blue. It just is blue.
The little lines, they're in blue. When you go into help, it's blue.
It's Gmail, only bluer. We experimented with a lot of different colors.
We tried orange, brown. Brown was a disaster. We tried yellow.
The inspiration of blue came from nature.
Ocean, sky, blue whales.
A blue that was reminiscent of nature, but better than what nature created. Gmail Blue is, it just opens a lot of doors that haven't been opened before.
I think the first thought that's going to come to the end user's mind is, I can't believe I waited this long for this.